Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel, and I'm at it again with more dehydrating. So if you're new to my channel, please hit the subscribe button. I would greatly appreciate it, and you can follow me along on what I have going on. I've been doing a lot of prepping, a lot of dehydrating, and just wanted to show y'all what I'm up to. So this here is frozen cauliflower and broccoli. I just took it, chopped it up, and if I have to, since it was frozen, I might have to chop it more. And just laid all the pieces out on the dehydrator tray. And then next, I have the mixed vegetables, green beans, peas, corn, carrots. These were also frozen out of the bag. And then next, and by the way, these also came from the dollar store. So it's only $1 per tray to be able to put food up for longer term storage. Because I had just thought about something yesterday. Our power went out for a little while. And I was thinking, and this is a whole bag of broccoli, and I chopped it smaller. And this is a bag of the seasoning mix with onions. I found, and I'll finish my story in just a second, I found that if you try to dehydrate fresh onion, you will not be able to stay in your house. My opinion. Strictly my opinion. I don't like raw onion. I don't like the smell of raw onion. And it's starting to stick. Onions have a lot of sugar content that comes out. It makes them sticky, so they try to stick. Anyway, so this is the way I started doing the onions. Just because when onions are frozen, they don't seem to have near the strong onion smell as what the fresh onions do. And this has the onions and the peppers and I believe parsley. So, and I've done this before and I've shown this before. So, I'm just doing more. But yesterday, while our power was out, I was thinking, you know what? I have a whole freezer on the back porch full of food, which is mostly vegetables, frozen fruit, which I also dehydrate. Okay, so I'm back. I got distracted from doing my last little bit of dehydrating. So now I'm doing fresh cut squash. And then I'm also doing, I have another bag to do once these are finished. And I'll show y'all what's on the bottom trays. I'm doing crushed tomatoes on my fruit leather trays to do tomato powder. And then I'm doing diced tomatoes on the regular. And this all fit on one tray. And this I had to put on two. And I will show you. And I'm still just barely started dehydrating these. So give me 1 second. Okay, and I'm also saving those cans for Off the Wall Prepper to do some kind of cooking outside. I don't know, you'll have to look at Off the Wall Prepper's videos to see what's going on over there. So this is, which one was it? This was the crushed tomatoes. And this is half the can. And this is the fruit leather tray. I tried to not make it too thick, but it looks like it's drying pretty well. You can see where it's starting to pull up right there. And let's see, try to not make a mess. So this is the diced tomatoes right here, and these were getting close to the expiration date. I know they still have a long time after that date, but I have an excess amount. Like, I bought tons of these things, so I figured I could make I guess they would be like roasted tomatoes, and these are kind of on top of each other, but I think they'll be all right. So these come out kind of like roasted tomatoes, and they're actually really good. So I poured these out of the can. I put those in this is more that's frozen that I have to thaw out. These are fresh tomatoes, and they're all fresh, chopped up, and I just wanted to get them put up so they didn't go bad. So I figured I'd just throw them in a bag, throw them in the freezer, and then I can pull them back out and start dehydrating them. So I actually made chicken spaghetti last night, and I put some of my diced tomatoes, and I'll pull the jar out and show you. And I pulled some of my diced tomatoes out and threw them in there that I actually made into like roasted tomatoes. And I know you can also do that in the oven as well. This is the other half of that can of crushed, and there's another can there. And this is a 28 ounce can. And this is Clover Valley from Dollar General. So it basically 14 ounces fit on each one of these. I don't know if you can see the edge right there. Like, you can barely fit 14 ounces on each one of these trays. Hopefully I will be getting a different dehydrator later, and I can use this one still just for little things. But I want one of the dehydrators that are square, that have the drawers that pull out, instead of having to do this stackable thing. And also, let's see if I can show you. This is the Nesco. This is by American Harvest. This only has an on and off switch. There's no temperature control. So a lot of these things, I have no control whatsoever what temperature these things dehydrate at. Some, it's even tried to cook them because I guess the temperature was higher. And other things take forever because it seems like the temperature is not high enough. So, I don't know. So, hopefully, I can get one of the good dehydrators pretty soon. So, but as soon as these are, and I also want more trays because I have so much more to do. Now I have to wait all day to be able to do more food. Like, I have another bag this size of the squash, and I'm only doing these because I'm also trying to empty our freezer of anything that might start to have ice on it. I don't know, just to empty the freezer. I try to rotate everything out so this can sit dehydrated on the shelf longer than what these items can sit in the freezer. Okay, so here's my tomatoes, and I love these lids. I need to find some more of these. So here's the tomatoes that I did. I mean, they're a little on the dry side, but like almost over dry, but these can be, I just did seeds and all, and then these can be thrown in anything to rehydrate. So I love those, and I need to put a moisture absorber in there. And I don't vacuum seal these because I use them pretty often. I need to, and that's what I'm doing now to make extra to where I can vacuum seal it with a moisture absorber. I also have oxygen absorbers, and then I can put those up for longer term storage. So right now this is the only quart size I have of these tomatoes. Something else I really love doing are these mixed vegetables. This is from a bag of frozen vegetables, and I dehydrated it to where it's completely dry. You can see I do have a moisture absorber in there. And you always want to condition your dehydrated food, which means you take it and shake it and make sure nothing is sticking to the sides, to the bottom. Everything is completely dry. So I did these last month in October. And then I only put the month and the year. There's no sense in putting the day of the month. These I did this month. These are dried peas. These came out of a can. Just like that. Like a can, metal can. You always want to hear that no thudding. And I need to put a moisture absorber in here. But you have to condition for about a week. 5 to 7 days at least. Just to make sure you don't have any moisture in your jars. And something else I'm going to start doing with these is once I condition them in the jars, then I'm going to turn around and I have tons of these. I'm still doing more and more and more because I bought a whole case of cans of these peas. So something else I'm going to do really soon that I've never done before is Mylar bags. So I'm going to take these, and I have tons of these also, out of the jars and seal those in Mylar bags with an oxygen absorber. So I'll show that process as well. So frozen in the bag, you can buy the huge bags of mixed vegetables. You can sit and separate all this if you want to. If not, you can leave it as is. There's like peas, carrots, corn, just green beans, all kinds of stuff in here. So if you want to sit and separate all that, you can. If not, you can just throw this in a soup, stew, casserole. This is good to go in like shepherd's pie. You can do a pork roast, beef roast, you know, just whatever you want to add it to. And then same with these, you can add these to anything. Orange peels, every time I eat an orange, I save the peels, I throw it in the dehydrator. See, this is why I need to make more tomato powder. That's all I have left. Anyways, I'm going to turn my dehydrator back on, put these away, and I will show you the end result of all of these, especially like the crushed tomatoes when I go to do the tomato powder. So I'll be back. Okay, coming right along. It's been hours since I started this, but the thing was sticking. I stood here and I pulled all the pieces off because they stick to the tray. Like I have this tray, I don't know what you call this, silicone tray. But anyways, they're almost ready. They're not completely dry. And you can do this also with potato skins too. They come out like that, but see how they're still pliable? That's not completely dry. And you can also make tomato powder out of these. If you have like an excess amount of the diced tomatoes or crushed tomatoes or fresh. And then I also pulled this off to check it too. This is the crushed tomatoes. And I just poured it on here. This is a fruit leather. Let's see if I can show it. This is a fruit leather tray. And it came out like fruit leather, but tomato leather. So this is not completely dry either. But I don't know if now that it's this dry, if it would help to put it, take it off of here and put it on the other tray. Like now that it's like this. And I did not spray this with anything. I did not put coconut oil on here or anything. But see how it's still pliable? It needs to dry more. But I'm thinking it might dry more if I break it up. And if I put it on one of these other trays. And there's the squash. This piece right here is not completely dry, but all the rest are almost dry. And they shrink up a lot. But yeah, I'm wondering about this. Look at that. I can make a tomato fruit roll up, seriously. I know I'm being funny. But I'm thinking about breaking this up in pieces and putting it on the other plastic tray. So it has more airflow, because this is solid. And the air can't flow through it as well. There we go. Yeah, it's still kind of wet. So maybe that would work. Just right there is the only place. Right there. And after this cools off, like anything you pull out of the dehydrator, you want to let it cool for 10 or 15 minutes or so, maybe 20 minutes. See how it's coming off now. But it's still too pliable. See that? It should break like crisp. And this has been turned off for a few minutes or more. Oh, that's still kind of wet there too. Yeah, this needs more time. So I'm thinking I'm going to pull it off of here now and add this to that other tray and maybe give it some more time. And then I have the other can to put in there. And these tomatoes, I'm trying to get these thawed out. These have been sitting out here all day. Almost thawed out. So these are close. Yeah, see how that broke? Yeah, these are almost. So I will bring y'all back, show you what I did. Okay, so I just took it and pulled it off. Nope, now it's starting to crack a little bit. Hear that? So I'll leave it on longer. This is the second one. That's so satisfying. Have you ever seen those videos where they do all that stuff they show you and it's satisfying? I know I'm a dork, but that was so satisfying to pull that off of this tray. And these things get stained, but I'll wash them real good. So here's the other one. I started doing that, and I thought if I spread it out too much, it's not going to fit back on there without overlapping. So I left the rest of it, so we'll see. There's that one. So, I was going to tell you too, you need a lot of tomatoes. If you've never made tomato powder before, by the time you break this up, grind it, and make it into a powder. See, that's not crisping now, that part. It takes a lot to make a good amount of tomato powder. But that's the same when I make the green powder. I just keep adding to it and shake it up. So in the green powder, you can put anything, basically anything green in there, as far as I know. I don't know, I like to experiment. So I will bring y'all back again as soon as these are completely finished. Oh yeah, I was going to show y'all, turn that back off. I was going to show y'all too, I love this book. I know they have the Dehydrator Bible too that I still want to get. But see that? Fruit leather. Just add water meals. Good for all kinds of things. So, and I added, sorry I'm on my sink. I added these tabs. So like this, see where I wrote powders and leathers. Flip right to it. So, it tells you all about powders, vegetable powder. All vegetables with the exception of mushrooms must be cooked until tender before dehydration. Then pureed until smooth. Do not add salt, sugar, or corn syrup to the puree. And spread on drying sheets set in the dehydrator trays. No more than 1/4 inch thick. And I know I didn't do mine that. But see where it says 125 degrees? I can't adjust my dehydrator. So I'll just deal with it. Then they can be ground into a fine powder using a blender, stone grinder, or mortar and pestle. Which I have. Hold on, guys. Ugh. Right here. Got it on. I either bought that on Facebook Marketplace brand new or Mercari. I don't remember. So, anyways. Oh, I'm getting... So, you can do fruit powder, which I did. I did apples and I did oranges. You can do powders from herbs and flowers. Tells you about storing, rehydrating. So yeah, this is a very good book. You can do pumpkin. Yeah, all kinds of stuff. You'll just have to get the book. You can also do baby food. And there's herbs, flowers, and making tea blends. This is a really good book. I will see if I can get the affiliate code for Amazon from Off the Wall Prepper for this book. And if I can, I will put that on this video as well. So I will bring y'all back as soon as these are finished. So here is my stewed tomatoes. Well, I guess they are diced tomatoes. And I didn't feel like pulling out the food processor, so I just put these in the coffee grinder. So I'll show you the results in just a moment. And by the way, this is a 28-ounce can, which is 1 pound, 12 ounces, dehydrated. Here's your results. That's it, folks. See if you can see that. This is what you get. That's why I said you need a lot of tomatoes to do this. So I'll be right back. Okay, here it is. This came out of the lid, and I got this idea from the Purposeful Pantry to use a brush to brush it out. So, oops. See all the extra in there. So I'll use a brush and get the rest of that out. So here, except for that little bit of residue, here is a 28 ounce can of diced tomatoes. Wow. This is a 1.5 pint jar, I believe. I believe that's right. So there you go. By the way, I purchased this on Amazon. I love this thing. It has the measurements. It's wearing off, but it's awesome. So I still need to do these two. So I have to break all this up. It's going to take a while to get all these done, and I'll show you the results. See how this breaks? That's what you want. Show you again. See how that breaks and crumbles? Looks like it almost burnt. I think that's all I can fit. So I fit about 3/4 of it in here. Okay, one more thing. When you're doing this, whatever machine you're using, you don't want to just hold this button down. You want to pulse it like this. Because you don't want that powder getting heated back up after you've already cooled it on the tray. Because if you do, then it's going to start absorbing moisture again, and you don't want that. Okay, here we go. This is 2 28-ounce cans of tomatoes. Right here. Wow. Not very much. Like I said, you need a lot of tomatoes. And this is my frozen tomatoes. I put them all on one tray, squished them down. So those are going on next. Here's the moisture absorbers I use, which is here. I will drop, and these are rechargeable. You just put them in the microwave. Reusable. And these came from Amazon. So I just dropped 2 of them in there. And you can vacuum seal this. You want to put a coffee filter, cheesecloth, or something over it to keep the powder from going up in your machine. So from here, and of course my jar wasn't all the way dry. I thought it was. So I will have to dry that some more. But from here, you just want to constantly, like every time you think about it, especially with this, you want to constantly shake it and make sure there's no moisture. I'm going to have to change jars, and hopefully the moisture absorbers will pull out the rest of that moisture. But you want to make sure you condition this powder really well. So that's about it. I'm going to add this can on next on another tray with my frozen tomatoes. So I'm going to try to get this jar full. Now, I just started for the night. This is mild diced tomatoes with green chilies. Those are on the top. and then one 28-ounce can of crushed tomatoes split between, and I can't lift it up, split between 2 trays. And then my bottom tray are my frozen tomatoes that I had showed you. And possibly fill this jar all the way up or almost all the way up. Hopefully I can find some kind of chart to figure out the ratio of tomato powder for using it in soup, stews, chili, casseroles, like whatever you'd like to add it to.